Hey, happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to another Chamber Check-In episode from Idaho's only five-star accredited chamber. I'm so excited today to feature Ann Smith. She's the founder and talent development partner for Guide and Grow Consulting. Hi, Ann.
Hi, great to be here.
Hey, thanks for taking some time with me today. We sit in a tips group together, which is a networking group of the chamber. But this is the first time I get to help share and make a splash about Guide and Grow Consulting. And as you know, these chamber check-ins are really great ways to share our member stories, their products and services, as well as the most important part, the people. So why don't we start out with that and tell us a little bit about your background and history of work that led you to becoming an entrepreneur and in the consulting field before we dive into what Guide and Grow is.
I would love to, and thank you for the opportunity. I have had, over 20 years experience in the learning and development space. I hate to admit that because it kind of dates me a little bit. However, I'm really proud of those 20 years. I got my growth mindset and love of learning early on. My dad sold textbooks, so our garage was filled from the floor to the ceiling with knowledge, and I was just constantly out there learning new things, and it really propelled me to want to help other people learn as well. My first job within learning development was for a national property management, multifamily apartment management company. I was a director of learning and development, and I got to do really great work in the areas of management training, leasing, some compliance things like fair housing, developed national content for fair housing for the company. And then I even ran the maintenance training department. I didn't do the maintenance training, but I did help lead the way for the train the trainers for the maintenance people that were running the training. So that was really fun. Next, I went over to Micron Technology, led the team for developing training for a new performance and development approach that they were taking back when I joined the company. So that was a really great experience. Got to play with engineers and put on a bunny suit and work the night shift. So that was really fun. So I did a lot of communication training, leadership training at that time. Then actually I did start my own entrepreneurial endeavor, my first one with AMS training. I did that for a couple of years. It was fantastic within the Treasure Valley. I was a member of the Boise Chamber of Commerce at the time, really helped me out. And then I was recruited to Microsoft, and it was such a great opportunity to go. Couldn't really say no to Microsoft, working with some amazing people, running the Legal and Corporate Affairs Academy. So working with attorneys at Microsoft to do intellectual property training, leadership skills, communication, all kinds of fun things. That's where I really got into the virtual before virtual was a thing. And then I went and was recruited by my previous Microsoft manager to a medical device company to set up a sales training academy and bring in Salesforce and launch that for that company. Then I was recruited over to Simplot, spent 5 years in their learning, leadership, and development team, as well as the talent development team. Worked with some really fantastic leaders, frontline leaders, all the way from, honestly, like people on horseback with the land and livestock team, all the way to, IT professionals or people in food groups. So that's what I was doing for the last 20 years. And then in 2022, I know you probably have heard lots of challenges in the last couple of years from business owners about just the challenges they're facing with employment and keeping employees, keeping good employees, people not, looking for their next thing, hopping for a dollar. Yeah. I'm guessing you've heard a lot of that in the last couple of years.
So the number one issue is retaining and attracting talent.
Yeah. So I saw that issue and said, not every business has an internal training department like a Simplot, which does amazing things globally, and thought, what about other businesses that don't have full-time people to help skill up their workforces? And that kind of was what spurred me on to start my company, Guide and Grow.
Wow. So you've got a rich history of training, developing training, and working on all sorts of industries from food and ag to high tech. That would lead me to think that you're very credible and with Guide and Grow. And I'm so glad that you put your learning into a profession where you can offer ad hoc services as well as what you've done and what you know really well too. But I've been thinking a lot about training recently too. And I've been with a lot of different companies. And if you don't put the time and effort in coaching up and aligning expectations early on in someone's career, you're missing the boat. And I know it takes time and effort and money to do that, but it's less to retain than it is to attract sometimes, as far as the dollar amount goes. But I think any organization that puts their money where their mouth is on training is going to be set them apart and elevate their team. So Guide and Grow. Tell me, you told us about how it got founded, and tell me a little bit maybe what the roadmap is for Guide and Grow as far as its mission and vision.
Absolutely. So the name Guide and Grow actually came from a leadership program that I worked on in my past, and it was based on three kind of things across, and that is goals, which is the first G, right? We need to set goals on development, but also companies need to set goals of what they want to achieve for their business. Guidance is really that training and support and practice to build those behaviors and embed them and help the people with their skills. And then the growth, goals, guidance, growth. The growth is really once the person has sort of learned it and started to master it, then they can start teaching others and really grow the organization and the team. So that's kind of where that name came from. Really my goal, and I kind of alluded to this, is really to help businesses, leaders, individual team members really thrive within their careers and in their businesses so that the businesses can help just attract and train and really retain those high quality employees. And you mentioned, it costs money. The statistic on how much does it cost to hire somebody to replace someone that leaves is 2/3 of somebody 2/3 of someone's salary to replace somebody. So if I leave an organization and I have to go out and hire somebody else, it's going to cost me 2/3 of my annual salary to rehire the next me.
Wow.
In addition to the salary that you're going to pay me. And so really it's really cost effective to actually get ahead of that skill development and helping people grow.
Well, we're talking about workforce and development of workforce. And that's the first thing on the Guide and Grow Consulting's website that I saw as a solution that you provide. Maybe can you tell us a little bit more about some of the other solutions that you have become from your conversations with clients? What has organically happened in those conversations? What solutions have you been able to provide?
Yeah, it's really interesting. And the thing that I feel like differentiates my company is that I have been working with so many diverse types of businesses, small businesses, medium-sized, large businesses across all kinds of industries. So what I really like to do is just dive in and do a needs assessment first and find out, like, well, what is it you're trying to accomplish? What's your pain point, or what are you trying to grow or enhance, right? Whatever that is. So then I can really customize whatever that solution is. And for fear of talking myself out of a job, sometimes it's not a training issue. They might say, help, my customer service associates need training. We're getting terrible scores from our customers. And then we dive in a little bit and figure out, well, it's actually maybe a process issue. And I don't do process, but I have lots of great partners that are members of the chambers that do. So I can refer them to that person to have a conversation about that. If it is a training issue, I do things like develop customized training. I deliver customized training. I can do e-learning, virtual, in-person, workshops, team offsites. Let me give you a quick example just to show you kind of the breadth of where it can go. I had one company, global company, hire me to do crucial conversations. And can you hear me okay? Because you look like you might be frozen.
We're spotty on the internet around, but we get on here in a minute, but let's keep them.
Okay, that sounds good. So the company that hired me, they were having trouble with people not wanting to hold difficult conversations or hard conversations with their colleagues or team members. So they hired me to do that training. And then we did both virtual and in person because the different people that worked there had different needs. And by the end of that kind of training, people really were engaged. We did lots of follow-up. We had conversations after the fact and team meetings. They said, well, wait a minute, don't you do career mapping? And so then they said, well, we really want to lay out some career plans for both our team members and our leaders. And so we worked together on doing some career mapping that they could then have, like, hey, what does my growth at this company look like? Why would I stay here? Why would I give my best and be engaged? And then, so we did that work and launched it. And then they said, well, wait a minute, don't you do competency mapping to help us with our succession planning so that we can help people grow into roles instead of having to hire from the outside? So we did that work. And then we also did some team offsites for team building. So all kinds of things can happen depending upon what the need is at the moment. So that's just an example of, one company that we kind of had one issue at the beginning, and we've been working together now for a year and a half, and it's been a lot of fun.
When you have conversations, you can help, and it makes. I love that when you have a conversation, and like you said, hey, it may be a worse thing, it may be a processing. And I love that. The worst spot are that choose all week.
All right, well, it looks like Paul is gone. So I'm just going to keep on talking because I'm totally able to do that. And he will probably log back on. And I'll just tell you a little bit about some of the things that I share with some of my clients when we're having conversations. The first thing that I always want to share with them is just really, like, if you really want to attract and train and retain really great people, one of the things that you want to do is just be really intentional about learning and development. And I know sometimes we're trying to, like, fill seats and hire people, but if we leave the people that we already have without any type of training or career mapping, or wondering, what skills can I develop while I'm still here, then they could potentially leave. In fact, according to a Culture Amp survey just last month, the number one reason why employees either leave or stay at their company is learning and development. So that's kind of the first thing. So getting ahead of that. And then the second thing I like to share is just, work has changed over the last couple of years. The relationship that people have with their workplaces, employees have higher expectations, I think, than they have in the past. And so we need to figure out, how do we adjust and how do we make sure that we're meeting employees' needs and that employees are giving us their best, they're engaged, they're giving us that discretionary effort. And a lot of that has to do with training as well. 3 out of 4 people that are looking for a job are looking outside their current company. So it's our job to say, well, you're here today. Here's what you're going to learn. These are transferable skills, and they will then want to stay. The other question that Paul had asked me to share is there anything else I wanted to mention to educate the public? And the last thing I would say is there's so much talk right now about AI, right? Artificial intelligence, and how's it going to affect our work, or how's it going to affect my job, and am I in danger of losing my job? And there's lots of uncertainty around generative AI right now. And there are so many great things, just like the internet. There's going to be so many great things it can do. It can aggregate and collect data. So, for example, you could get data about what skills are already at your company with employees we already have, and how can we help utilize those skills in other roles that they may not be in today, or what gaps in those skills do we need, and how are we going to fill those gaps so that we can help those employees grow into those roles into the future. And so AI can be a really great tool for the future. In fact, 72%, this is a LinkedIn survey that was just done, of US executives agree that soft skills will be more valuable than AI skills for the future of their organizations, because Although AI is a great tool, it can make our lives a lot easier. Nothing can replace the human connection. And so I'm going to go ahead and log off, and hopefully this will still be live. And if you have any questions, please connect with me. I'm Ann at Guide and Grow Consulting. And I would love to hear from you, have a conversation, and find out how I can help your employees, your leaders, and your teams grow and thrive in this time of uncertainty. Have a great day.